What's up guys, Rich Graham here, veteran Navy SEAL, the founder of Full Spectrum Warrior and Safariland Cadre. Today we're going to do some Cadre tips and we're going to talk about some vehicle combatives. Very important for you to know and understand if you ever find yourself in a situation where you need to defend yourself in this type of environment. So let's talk about some vehicle combative stuff. First things first, there's no live ammunition in my pistol at this time. I'm going to go ahead and holster. So the number one thing with vehicle combatives, if we're in a vehicle-borne attack or anything like that, if we can drive off the scene, drive. Number two is get out of the vehicle. The third is fighting from within the vehicle till I can either get out or get away. Maybe the situation changes and now I do have an out and I can drive. So here we are, we're in the vehicle and we need to get out. Whatever happened, I can't drive any further and I need to dismount. Two important things with this, for the guys who are righties, right hand, if you had drawn your pistol, we need to start training that seatbelt release with your left hand. So this can be very awkward and we don't want to be fumbling with the pistol in your hand while we're trying to navigate the seatbelt. So I would recommend we start practicing that left hand. For me as a lefty, my left hand's holding the pistol. My right hand is actually a little bit more accustomed to working the seatbelt buckle. So let's take a closer look at it. So in this case, I come in, pistol comes out, it's going to come up. So now my right hand, there's different thought processes on this of grabbing the seatbelt higher and pulling it out and away from your body. This is more if I'm wearing gear like a chest rig and armor or anything like that the seatbelt can get caught on. Otherwise, I can basically just come right here, lower, and come right to that buckle. When I do so, I'm going to take that seatbelt and I'm going to bring it toward the steering wheel. What I want to do is basically I'm going to bring that buckle towards the steering wheel and see how I come right over that pistol. And now my hand is in this position, which is going to work the doorknob. This is way different than this. If I go here and I do this, then I'm essentially pointing my gun at my arm. In a faster motion, it's just like this, and it never crosses my barrel. As far as the muzzle discipline of that goes, the righties, you're here. My left hand is going to come down, find that buckle, and it's going to come out. Again, I like to come towards the steering wheel still, just to make sure it doesn't get caught on any of my clothing or gear or whatever. And I'm going to flick it, and my hand's going to wait right here to work the doorknob. It seems like it's a nuanced thing, and maybe it's not that big of a deal. Under stress, trying to do that fast, you'd be amazed how many people screw that up. You can just start practicing like this. So when you get to the store, park the car, left hand's going to come over, find the buckle, and go for the doorknob. So I would highly recommend you start practicing that. It's really going to make a difference when it comes down to a high stress situation. Let's talk a little bit more in detail about our muzzle discipline inside the vehicle. I may have someone in the passenger seat. I might have my kids in the back seat. There's a lot to be going on here, right? So when I go and draw, my muzzle comes up. I try not to sweep my legs if possible, but this is going to be my starting position, this high port. I don't want to swing the pistol into the targets because I run the risk, depending on how far away you are from the steering wheel. You don't want to get caught in the steering wheel. You don't want to be looking out that back window, and now I'm taking my muzzle right across the face and the head of my passenger. We want to come up, and then I'm going to turn, and then once I identify the target, I'm going to drive straight into the target, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to turn from this position. So I want my turns to be nice and tight because I'm in a confined space. The other thing is, when I go to turn, if my seatbelt is still on, I'm going to slide my back into the chair. If I'm going to look out this side, which is the tougher position for me as a lefty, this shoulder is going to drive into the chair as I turn. And if I'm going to go this way, instead of leaning forward so I don't lock in the seatbelt and get myself stuck, I'm going to keep pressure into the chair, and I'm going to keep that contact, turn, and now drive. If I'm going to the back, out that back window, I'm going to turn, sliding that shoulder into the chair, and I'm going to drive in. If it was right-handed, same thing. This shoulder is going to keep contact, turn, drive out to the target. If it's here, turn, drive out. If I'm going out that back window, one of the things that's important here is I want to bring this elbow in as I turn, and I'm gonna clear the head of my passenger, turn the bottom of my pistol toward the target, and then drive out. When this comes in, my elbow comes into that rib, this turns, and I can come back to neutral. And this is gonna keep me from doing this stuff or trying to go like this to get my arm over. If my elbow's up, it's gonna be hard for me to get into that. So I wanna bring that elbow in, turn, and then it drives straight out like that, if that makes sense. So this is gonna allow us to work within this space with people in the car with us, not sweep them, not get stuck on any of the items within the vehicle, and allow us to move fast and drive right into position. And then when we need to get out, we can work the seatbelt, work the doorknob, all that stuff like we already discussed. From shooting within the vehicle, one of the things we might want to consider, and you guys can practice at the range, you can get a chair and try shooting from a seated position. What we've seen is sometimes shooting from within the vehicle, we lose that body position to really get behind the pistol to manage that recoil. So sometimes we get stovepipes or misfeeds because we're in this position, and maybe people are shooting like this with their elbows down, and it gets real whippy shooting this compressed position. If I'm shooting your guys' direction, right, I'm in here and I'm gonna have to grab that grip and get in tight. Maybe the window hasn't been shot through yet, so I have a wall right here, right? So I can't extend my arms out like I normally would shoot. So in here, depending on the windshield, depending on the size of the car, I may have to shoot here in that compressed position. If I'm shooting across my body, if I'm used to shooting like this with my arms locked out in this extended position, when I turn my arms like this arm is shorter and even more exaggerated going out the back. So shooting in that compressed position, something like this, right, or this, or here, this is something we should start practicing because our shooting body position, right, is going to be different than we're used to. So if you don't have the opportunity to shoot out of a vehicle, then maybe next time you go to the range, you can just put a chair on the range. You guys can try that. I think it'll help. If I'm shooting through the windshield, I have a piece of glass that has a protective film on it. We want to be having the target within 3 feet of the glass, and we want our angle to be perpendicular if possible. It's almost impossible unless you're shooting uphill, right, or the car's facing downhill, to shoot perpendicular through the glass because it's naturally on an angle in front of us. So there's a high probability when I shoot through this glass, the round is going to deflect up. If my bad guy is 20 feet out and he has a clean shot at me and I have a shot at him, who has the higher probability of hitting if we understand deflection? I'm within 3 feet of the glass like he wants. When the round deflects, it's going to come down and it'll probably hit me in the chest. When I shoot out, there's a high probability that round's going to deflect up and miss. Could it still hit? Yeah, anything can happen. Bullets do crazy things. But generally speaking, he's in the winning situation of that exchange. Another thing to consider, and this is one of the reasons why we want to get out of the vehicle. If I'm shooting from this chair, this is the spot I'm at inside the vehicle. If the bad guy runs around the car, he knows where I'm sitting. I'm always in that driver's seat position. He knows where that position is. When I'm in here and this glass bursts out and it's hard for me to see, right? Maybe we're in low light conditions or whatever. He knows where I am, but as he moves, it might be hard for me to see him. I don't know where he's gonna go. And as he moves, right, I'm putting more angle into that glass, which is increasing deflection, which reduces the odds of my rounds hitting. But because I'm still within 3 feet of the glass, his rounds could still hit. I want to get out of this position because I'm stuck. My bad guy's a moving target. He's further away from the glass. The odds are in his favor that he's going to win. So this is not the position that I want to fight from. That's why we were saying we want to drive. If we can't drive, we need to get out. If I can't get out, I'm going to fight from within the vehicle, right? And I'm only fighting from within the vehicle to buy time so that I can get out. All right, so let's try this drill live fire. We're gonna be shooting frangible ammo because the steel is so close to the vehicle. I'm gonna be using the Safariland Vault with the SLS, right? Down forward, and then the ALS to release the pistol. So this is gonna be a level 3 holster, right? We got 3 movements to deploy it. When we go to draw this, being in the vehicle, again, I can't swing my elbow back because I'm hitting the B-pillar and the seat. So instead of me leaning forward to get that position, because I don't want to lock the seatbelt, I'm going to lean to the side. So it would actually be more like this to the side, down, up, and come in. Does that make sense? And then that way we don't go here and maybe it locks, maybe it doesn't lock, right? But if we want to put the odds in our favor, if I dip to the side, it's not going to lock. If I dip forward, maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. If we just got in a little fender bender, right, because I hit this barricade or someone did a vehicle interdiction and they stopped us, this might already be locked from the initial impact. So again, the safe way to do it would be lean out, clearing that space, down, up, boom. And we're going to come in and let's just run through this drill and we'll just see how it does. All right, guys, so hopefully that helps. Just a quick recap. If we can, drive. Once we can't drive, get out of the vehicle. If I can't get out of the vehicle, fight from within the vehicle, navigate my equipment so that I can get out, buying myself time to get back and away from the vehicle and get myself out of danger. My name is Rich Graham, head of Full Spectrum Warrior, Safariland Cadre. Leave any questions in the comments below. If you liked this video, you found it was helpful, let us know. And otherwise, we'll see you on the next video.